good. Check my service doors. I want to make sure they open up freely, which they do. Make sure they're mounted securely and not damaged. I want to go ahead and check my glass, make sure it's not damaged. The seals are not dry rotted or damaged. I'm not missing any bolts. I'm not missing any cotter pins as well. Next, I'm going to go ahead and move up to my step wheel, make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged, no trip hazards. I'm going to look at my handrail, make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged, and no pinch points. Step wheel light, mounted securely, not damaged. I'm going to look at my ABC fire extinguisher, make sure it's fully charged and properly inspected. Then we're going to move on to the bus. I'll check that has come up. Next, I'm going to go ahead and check that first aid kit and body fluid kit, make sure they're fully stocked, and my spare fuses are in the first aid kit. You guys come on board. Properly, latches properly, the seat belt is not damaged or frayed. And then I sit down. When I sit down, y'all got the seat right up here. Put my seat belt on. First thing is, I'm going to go ahead and do my brake check. I'm going to put my bus into safe start. And what I want to do is make sure the ABS light goes on and goes off, and gauges are walking properly, which it did. Next, I will start my bus to build up my air pressure to approximately 125 psi when the governor should kick on, or kick off, and then that's what we're listening for. And to help that process, I will idle it up to 1300 RPMs. Start my bus. Good time, turn your headlights on. Next one, I'm sorry. Perfect on. Pressure is built up to approximately 125. I want to continue on to my brake check. First thing I want to do is go ahead and turn the bus off, release the parking brake, put it back in safe start, and I want to make sure I don't lose no more than 3 psi in 1 minute. Can you time me, please? And he'll say continue. Next, I want to make sure I don't have no, that was making sure I didn't have no leaks. Next, I want to check to make sure my low pressure alarm comes on and sounds. I'll pump it down to approximately 60 psi to hear that alarm. Take your time, don't rush this. My low pressure alarm has come on and sounded. Now what I'll do is I'll continue to pump down my service brake to approximately 30 psi where the parking brake should reset. Parking brake is reset. Now what I'll do is I'll restart my bus up to rebuild my air pressure back up to approximately 125 psi. And instead of doing the oval, I'm going to rev it up myself. Say about 1,300 RPMs, you probably want to stay within 1,300 RPMs. Don't make the bus shake like I do. Pressure's built up to approximately 125. Now what I want to do is I want to check my parking brake. So what I'll do is I'll put my bus to drive and I will throttle up to 1,000 RPMs and hold it for 3 seconds. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. Parking brake held. Next what I'll do is put my bus back into drive and pull my bus up to the left. Well, let me start over. I'm going to check my service brake. So what I'll do is put my bus in drive, release parking brake, and I'm going to pull up at 5 miles per hour. Make sure the bus doesn't pull to the left or right, no grinding noise. We're just going to act like it didn't do anything. Pull the brake, neutral. My bus didn't pull left and right, and there was no grinding noises. This completes the brake portion of my exam. He's going to say continue, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to check my rearview mirror, make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged, seal's not damaged. I'm going to check my windshield, make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged, the seals are not damaged. On the windshield, there's no obstructions, there's no rot dings on the windshield. While we're talking about the windshield, I'm going to check my wipers. I'm going to make sure they're working properly on low and high, and the washer fluid does come out. Next, I'm going to go ahead and check that steering wheel. Make sure I have no more than 2-inch play on a 20-inch steering wheel. I'm going to check my steering column, make sure it's mounted securely and not damaged. Next, I'm going to go ahead and check all my gauges. I'm going to make sure my water temperature is not above 220. My oil temperature and battery gauges are at proper working order, proper operating level, and I have enough fuel to complete the trip. Next, what I will do is I'm going to make sure my left turn signal right, the indicator shows it's working. I want to make sure my right turn signal is working, the indicator shows that it is working. And I got my headlights on already. Check my brights, and they're working, and the horn works properly. Next, I'm going to move over to my panel switch. The first one is my amber loading lights. I'm going to push the button, and the lights will come on. The indicator shows it's working, and I see the crossover. I'm going to use my switch to make sure the stop arm comes out, and the crossing gate comes out as well, and the red light shows they're working, and I can see the crossover mirrors as well. Then I will go ahead and open up my door to make sure it works properly. The door opens up freely, and the step wheel light has came on. All that is working properly. I'm going to shut that down. I'm going to go ahead and do my override. This is where my stop arm and crossing gate will come out, and for whatever reason I need to cancel my crossing gate, I have that option. I push the button, I can see the crossing gate cancellation. Next, check my dome lights. I'm looking in my mirror. I see all my dome lights are working properly. I'm going to turn on my driver heater, low and high. Defrost fan, low and high. Step wheel heater, low and high. Rear heater, low and high. Midshift heater, low and high. Strobe light shows it's working. We'll check it here a little bit to make sure it is. And heater mirror indicator shows it's working as well. And I'm going to turn on my step wheel light to make sure my noise kill works. Noise kill works properly. Turn that off, and I'm going to go for it. Just say panel switch is good, gauge is good, steering wheel good. Now I'm going to continue on my exam. You leave the bus running. First thing I want to do is check that aisle. Make sure that aisle runner has nothing obstruction in it. I'm going to check, and I also want to check my seats all the way back. Make sure the mount is securely not damaged. front and the back of the seats are not showing any fault. Work my way to the back. Check your seats. I'm going to check my emergency door. What I'll do is I'll open up my emergency door, make sure the alarm comes on and sounds. Alarm came on and sounded. On the way back, I'm going to check the back of the seats, make sure there's no phone showing no damage. And what I'll do before I get to my roof hatch, I'll check my side emergency windows. That alarm came on and sounded. That alarm came on and sounded. We'll go back to my roof hatch. First thing I'm going to do is open it up. It works properly. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the alarm on, make sure it sounds. And while I have it open, I'll look at the strobe light to make sure that strobe light's working. I'm going to do this right here. Up, down, reconnect. You're down there. Go back here a little bit. Strobe light is working properly. Shut this. Go ahead and move on up. You're checking your seats as you go. I'll check my side emergency door, make sure the alarm comes on and sounds. It did. More likely he won't have you check the other windows. I'll go ahead and go back to my seat. First thing I always do when I sit down is put that seatbelt on. And I would ask the examiner to go outside so we check my lights outside. He might say just stay in here and do it, so that's what I'm going to do. First thing is check my left turn signal. It's working properly. Right turn signal, working properly. My hazards are working properly. I meant to say it earlier. Alright, next I got my headlights on and my brights. Checking my amber loading lights. They're working. Red stop arm, stop light, red stop arm, and crossing gate come out, and door comes out. Then I would motion him to the back, shut that down. He's back there, left turn signal, right turn signal. Four-way hazards, my brake, my reverse. Hazards on, work properly as well. Back in neutral. Check my embers. We're working. Stop arm crossing gate. And the door opens freely. Here he comes. Ask him to check your porch light when he comes in. Okay? It'll work? It'll work. Shut that down. He'll sit back down. Next thing you know, make sure everything's good here. Turn your headlights off. He'll say continue on your pre-trip. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to go to the outside now. So let's continue. Damage. I'll make sure the bus is not leaning to the left or to the right to indicate any kind of suspension problems or could have tire inflation issues. Next, we'll look underneath that bus and make sure there's no puddles, nothing wedged underneath the bus. Now I'm going to look at all my lights and lenses. I want to make sure they're all mounted safe and secure, they're not damaged. Now I'll identify which ones they are. Now on top I have my 3 amber clearance lights, my inside amber loading lights, my red stop lights. I have my fender lights, which has amber on the front, red on the back. I have my headlights, and I have my amber turn signals. Next, I'll go back up to the top. The school bus sign is legible. I'm going to check my windshield, make sure it's mounted securely, it's not damaged, seals are not damaged, no obstructions, no rot dings. My windshield wipers, make sure they are flat against the windshield, they are not damaged. The washer fluid hose is not leaking, which is right over there. You can see the little hose there. And you can go over and touch it, that's fine too. The washer fluid hose is not leaking. Next, crossover mirror, mounted securely, not damaged. Crossing gate, opens freely, works properly, is mounted securely, and not damaged. I'll move on. I'm going to check my hood latches. Make sure they're mounted securely, not damaged. And when it comes to rubber, they like to hear it's pliable. Sorry, it's on paper. Pliable is what the word. We'll do the other side. This next part's very overwhelming, so I'll just kind of warn you. You're going to hear the latch, so this way it locks. Okay? Let's go ahead and go on this side. Alright. So, get that corner on that side. Okay, so I'm going to check the driver's side of the engine, and here's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to look at my wire harnesses. I want to make sure they're mounted securely, not damaged, and my wires are not frayed. Remember, wires can be frayed, hoses can leak. Okay, so not frayed. I'm going to check my water and fluid hoses, and I want to make sure that they're mounted securely, not damaged or leaking. Next, I will check my oil dipsticks and transmission dipsticks. I will pull them out, wipe them off, reinsert them, check again, make sure it's at proper operating level. Next, I'll check my air compressor and my power steering pump which is underneath there. Make sure they're both mounted safe and secure. They're not damaged, not leaking, and they're both gear driven. Okay. Next, I'm gonna check my power fluid steering reservoir. What a word. Make sure that it is mounted securely, not damaged. I will take this out to make sure the level's at proper working order, proper operating level, and the hoses are not leaking. Next, I will talk about my steering shaft, make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged. I'll check my steering gearbox, mounted securely, not damaged, and not leaking. And I'm gonna go ahead and check my springs. I got my front spring mount and my back spring mount. Make sure they're mounted securely, not damaged. My leaf springs, they're mounted securely, not damaged. They're not shifted. The U-bolts are present. And I have my hydraulic shock absorber. It's mounted securely, not damaged. It's fully extended, and it's not leaking. I will next check my pitman arm, drag link, steering knuckle, tie rod. All of it is mounted safe and secure, not damaged, and the cotter pin is present on the steering knuckle. Next, we'll move into the ABS wire and the air hose. Make sure they're mounted securely, not damaged, not leaking. The hose is not leaking, the wire is not frayed. Then I got my brake chamber. Make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged. My push rod and slack adjuster, from what I can see, are mounted securely, not damaged. And if I had the bus chalked and the parking brake release, there'd be no more than 1 inch play from the slack adjuster to the brake chamber. You do have to say that. And this right here, this area right here is what I'm talking about. Okay. Next, from what I can see, I would look at the brake drums, make sure they're not they're mounted securely, not damaged, and I would check the brake lining to make sure it's not worn dangerously thin. From what I can see. Okay. Next, I'm going to look at my tires. These tires cannot be mismatched or recapped. The tread depth has to be a minimum of 4/32, and there's no obstruction in between the tires. Nope. Then I'll go towards the side of the tire. No cuts, bulges, bruises, no cloths showing, and that's pretty much it. Now, my rims, no active factory welds. Make sure they're mounted securely. They're not damaged. I have my valve stem right here. Go ahead and talk about it. It's mounted safe and secure. It's not damaged. The cap is present, it's not leaking, and if I have my tire pressure gauge, I have make sure I have a minimum of 100 psi. I have my lug nuts, make sure they're mounted securely, not damaged, nothing is loose. Rusty, shiny treads will show that they was loose. My oil hub seal, make sure that it's mounted securely, not damaged, it's at proper operating level, and it's not leaking. Next, mud flap, mounted securely, not damaged. A lot. We'll go on the other side. The passenger side of the bus is the same as the driver's side with the following exceptions. First thing is, I'm going to take a look at that coolant reservoir, make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged, it's at proper operating level, cap is present, hoses are not leaking. Next, alternator and my water pump. Make sure they're mounted securely, not damaged, not leaking, and these both are belt driven. Good. And I have my serpentine belt. I'll make sure I have no more than 3/4 inch play on it, and make sure my belt is not frayed. Next, wash fluid reservoir, make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged, it's proper operating level, cap is present, wire's not frayed, hose is not leaking. That's it on this side.
Yeah, that's it on the side because you've already taken care of the lease.
Everything, yeah.
Okay.
And make sure to get the hood down, you just kind of do this little thing right here, and this way we can be, ain't got to worry about those comps as much. You'll make that hood lights go on there. Get that one. Go this side. Alright, so now we're going to check the driver's side of the bus. First thing is, we'll make sure there's no excessive damage. Then I will check my running lights or clearance lights up top. I have 2 ambers and a red in the back. Make sure they're mounted securely, not damaged. I check all my windows, make sure they're mounted securely, not damaged, not cracked. I make sure my emergency windows are properly identified. I would check my reflective tape, make sure it's not peeling. And I would check my mirror, make sure it's mounted securely and not damaged as well. Next, I have my panel thing here, panel box. Just make sure no wires are frayed. You won't open that with this. Battery box, make sure there's no excessive corrosion. Batteries are mounted securely, not damaged. And I have my reflectors. Make sure they're mounted securely and not damaged. Then, I move my stop arm. Make sure it opens up freely. Make sure the rubber boot is pliable. No leaking from the boot. The tension wire is not frayed and cotter pin is present, and the wire is not frayed here as well. And my lenses are not damaged. They're secure. Move over here. We'll check my emergency door. Make sure it opens up freely. Locks in place. No obstruction in the aisleway. The hinges and bolts are mounted securely, not damaged or missing. My seals are not damaged, and I have my handle, which works properly. And these seals help keep toxic fumes from coming into the bus to the kiddos. And if it ever gets rough, just get kind of rough back with it through the lock, okay? Next, I'm gonna look underneath that bus. I'm looking at the frame of the bus, make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged. No rust holes. I want to check that drive shaft, make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged. Nothing wrapped around the drive shaft. And you can see my U-guards under there as well. The bus floor should not have any rust holes in it as well. I think the bus floor has got to be connected to the bus body somehow. Okay. There's a lot of stuff back here, by the way. So, from what I can see, here's what we're going to do. First thing is I'm going to talk about, I got my spring mounts right here. Make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged. My leaf springs, you know, from what I can see, they're not shifted, they're not damaged, and they got those U-bolts on them as well. From what I can see, it's hard to see, but from what I can see, they're not damaged. Next, I got my shock absorber over here. Make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged, not leaking. And I got my airbag, make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged or leaking. From what I can see, I want to check the ABS wire. I'm going to group a lot of this together. My ABS wire, my air hose, my brake chamber, slack adjuster, push rod. Make sure they're all mounted safe and secure, not damaged, wire's not frayed, hose is not leaking, and I had the bus chock. I had no more, and parking brake release, no more than 1 inch play from the slack adjuster to the brake chamber. And from what I could see, I would check the brake drums and brake lining, make sure they're not damaged and those lines are not worn dangerously thin. These tires are called dual tires or bud tires. I have to have a minimum of 2/32 on here. These tires can be recapped, but they cannot be mismatched. Okay, no obstruction in the tire, no obstruction in between the tires. And then I'm going to move to the sidewall. No cuts, bulges, bruise, or cloth showing. And then I want to do as well, I want to check my axle seal here, make sure all the bolts are present, nothing is loose, no shiny threads, and all the lug nuts are tight and no shiny threads. And my tire pressure gauge should have the cap present on it, which it does, and the valve stem is not leaking. And if I have my tire pressure gauge, I have a minimum of 100 PSI on the tire. Hard part about this, you can't see half of it. But as long as you say, from what I can see, you're fine. Let's go to the back. All right, I'm going to check the back of the bus. First thing is no excessive damage. And now I'm going to check all my lights and lenses, make sure they're all mounted safe and secure. They're not damaged. I have my 3 red clearance on top, my inside amber loading lights, my red stop lights. I have my red brake lights, my red parking lights, my backup clear lights, and also my amber turn signals are facing the proper directions. My reflectors are not damaged. My Kentucky official license plate is mounted securely, not damaged, and there is a light when the headlights are on that illuminates on the license plate as well. The school bus sign is legible on windows. Make sure they're mounted securely. They are not damaged. And we're going to go, and my reflective tape is not appealing. Go ahead and open the door. Make sure it locks in place. No obstruction. Hinges and bolts are present. Nothing damaged, nothing missing. Locks in place. Make sure my seal is not damaged. Make sure my handle works properly, which it does. Shut this bad boy in. And make sure that I don't have any obstruction in the tailpipe as well. I already said my reflectors are not damaged. Let's move on. Now, I would check the passenger side the same as the driver's side with the following exception. The first exception is we're going to make sure we have our reflective triangles in here, which they are right here. He won't even have you open that up. Next, I'm going to check that exhaust pipe. Make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged, no soot around it, no rust around it. Soot is a black residue that comes from the engine. That's all that is. We'll move on. Next, I'm going to check my fuel cage. Make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged. My fuel tank. Make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged, and not leaking. Okay? And then, I have my fuel. Alright, I'm going to take this out. Now what I would do is remove my cap, make sure the rubber gasket inside is not damaged, and make sure nothing is leaking. Oh yeah, there it is. I'll check my porch light, make sure it's mounted securely, not damaged, and then I do the happy dance, because I do it.